does it say camera turned on?
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Chromosome 18's first live broadcast. This is going to be a kind of trial broadcast, so we do ask that you will bear with us whilst we might experience some minor technical difficulties. We would ask anybody joining, please mute their microphone so that we don't get any background noise. And today we are going to be doing our first broadcast, which is going to be for 18 minutes long, and it's going to be on the 18th of every month. Times will vary depending on the day, but we will let you know in plenty of time beforehand. So I would like to thank Sarika, who has been helping us out to get us to this point. And of course, Leah and Stacy, thank you very much for your help and involvement. And I'm going to pass you over to Dr. Jannine Cody, who is going to move forward and make the presentation.
Okay, here we go. Hello. I can see Stacy anyway. The goal of this presentation, being our first one, is to just find out what your questions are. What is it that you want to know about the Chromosome 18 Registry? What do you want to know about the Chromosome 18 Clinical Research Center? Are there particular people you want to hear from? And so really this first session is not so much, well, it might be me answering questions, but it's really us asking you questions. We want to know what you want to hear about, because that's why we're here, is to answer questions and try to find answers. So, and everybody can unmute themselves, or, you need to chat. So
they just post in the chat box.
Oh, okay. So are they seeing this on Facebook? Is that how this works?
They're seeing this on YouTube.
Okay.
So
there's a chat box. Okay.
There should be a chat box that they can post questions.
Okay. So Stacy, would you say hi? I'm here or something. So we can test this out.
Okay. I don't know how to do that.
Good.
So, because I'm watching the video, I don't know how to do it from the YouTube thing.
Oh, there's not a chat box? Oh.
I don't see, no, not if you're on a video. Because we're able to talk, I think.
Right, yeah. And Leah's texting saying, yes, we're live, we can see and hear you.
He never thought he would.
There's not an obvious place, Stacy, to post a question?
Not on the live spot. I can try and go in. Let me try and, you're going to not see me. Let me try and do this from
okay.
YouTube. Let me go into that link and see what happens.
I just wanted to add, if I could, that we are live on Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, there are. Oh, that's the point, Leah. There's more people watching than just the 3 people.
Oh, yes.
Here.
Oh, yes.
I didn't know that.
Lots of people watching on Facebook.
Okay. So can they post questions? And so how will
they can post those are? They can post questions on Facebook, and I'm monitoring both, so I can post them over to this.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So even though we practiced, I'm still figuring out how all this works.
That's why it's a live podcast.
That's why it's live, right?
So that perhaps we could start off a little bit with some of the suggestions that you think might be good to have discussions about. Is there some things, I know, for example, we discussed one of the presenters that wasn't going to be able to make the conference.
Oh, that's true.
So is there kind of some people like that might be able to kind of perhaps put a couple of ideas
Yeah.
of what we might be able
Okay.
to do.
So last summer at the conference, Dr. O'Donnell came down with the flu and was not able to present on, I believe it was building executive function skills in our older children, young adults. And so that's a potential topic. So we can have question and answer sessions, or we can ask somebody to actually present more of a formal talk or discussion. So if there were particular speakers you wanted to hear at the conference and you weren't able to attend, we can do that. So this is a pretty easy forum for us to set up. So our real goal is to learn what you all want to hear about so that we can tailor that to your needs. So since I live and breathe this, what I'm thinking about is not necessarily what you're thinking about. So I need to know that. So, so any ideas that you have, that's really what we want to know about. And I don't know, I don't see any questions. Oh, wait, I see. Oh, do I go up here? Let me see. This is chat.
So the questions are generally coming in over there.
Okay, I see the questions. Sarika says, I'm inspired by the way the Chromosome 18 was started. Would love to hear more about that. So,
great question.
It's a great question. Neil says, it's a great question, but I get asked this all the time. So I feel like I say it all the time. The name of the Chromosome 18 Registry is the Chromosome 18 Registry and Research Society, because what we planned when we started this was just to learn from each other and to share information and then move that forward. It really started because we learned Liz was growth hormone deficient, and that is tested in a standard clinic. It's an approved, assessment. It's an approved therapy, and we thought there would be others, and there are others. And so we thought we could learn from each other just from those simple things, because at least in our experience, we found it very difficult to talk people into doing various tests and being concerned about the things I was concerned about, because we kept hearing, well, what do you expect? Well, I expect normal. And if we can do it, we will. If we can't, we can't. But if we're certainly going to try. And so we were fortunate enough to really have excellent medical care, because we were in the Air Force and were stationed near the Air Force's main hospital and the main teaching hospital for the Air Force. So we pretty much had access to every specialty, so that we realized we had that advantage that not everyone else had. And we thought we would learn from each other. But what happened right away was that when we sent out a survey asking about, have you been diagnosed with this or that, or just any list of questions, we found out quickly that we couldn't go anywhere with it. So one person might be diagnosed with a symptom of a condition, and another person was diagnosed with a condition. So when was that the same thing? And then what do you do next? So we learned really quickly that it's easy to send out a survey. It's hard to make it go anywhere, and learn from it and then keep pushing the information forward. So that's when we realized we've got to get involved with the medical center. And so even though the registry was originally envisioned to sort of be the patient registry and the research entity itself, very quickly we realized that was not the smartest way to go. And so when you figure out a better way to go, you need to go that way. And so we did, and became associated with medical school, which is required, really. You need to be associated with a hospital, but you also need to be associated with clinicians whose day isn't spent just seeing one patient after the other. they need to have time in their day to stop and think, why is this patient different? What can we learn from this? Let me look up in the literature what's known. Let's create a study. Let's find out what's really going on and ask the next questions. So that really requires a medical school. And we were so fortunate to live in a city that had a medical school. And so I reached out to the lead geneticist at the medical school, Dr. Celia Kay, and she thought it was a fabulous idea. Unstudied syndromes, so that is always worthwhile, even if it's rare. And people were very interested, but they were not really moving things along quite as fast as I thought they should. So I enrolled in graduate school. So I'd be on the inside. I'd be there every day. They'd see my face. I'd be lurking in the hallways and have permission to be there. And they still didn't work as fast as I wanted, but they still worked on it because we had regular meetings. So you just do what you got to do. So I guess, and I mean, people often ask me about the name and are confused about that. So I hope that makes sense that we sort of morphed. But hopefully the other thing that confuses people a lot is the difference between the registry and the research center. And the Chromosome 18 registry is the parent support group. And we are all about everything we can do for the families directly, whether it's having a conference, connecting people through Facebook, or just meeting each other virtually or in person, having regional get-togethers, just ways they can meet and learn from each other, because there are so many things, tips and tricks that we learn from each other. And so that's the function of the registry. The research center is at, they've just changed the name. It's University of UT Health. Instead of the University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio, it's now called UT Health as of, I think, next week officially. And so that's a different entity. It's the University of Texas, it's the medical school. And so families need to enroll, if you're interested, enroll in the research study at the research center and join the Chromosome 18 registry. We sort of pretend everybody's belongs to both, which really makes sense, but it's not required. And we don't compare notes. Someone from the research center never calls and says to the registry, do you have any new families you can tell me about? Never happens. Families have to contact each one directly. And so they're two separate operations with a firewall, which is legally required. And, but as I said, we just sort of pretend everybody belongs to everything. And, but we do try to send out things from the research center to those people who participate, send it out to them. There are things that go to people who participate in the research that don't go directly to the registry members in quite the same way or in the same time frame. The other thing I'd like to really stress to people about the research center is it's really about monitoring people with chromosome 18 abnormalities and their lives. That's the central function. It's there may be clinical trials, there may be surveys, but it's really about finding out what's going on in their lives and documenting it. So when I hear someone tell me that, oh, so-and-so had this terrible problem, and if they're not in the research study, I can't add that to the data set. If they die young, let's say, but they're not in the study, I can't add it because I can't verify their syndrome. I don't know their other medical history. I can't make it mean anything in context. So we really encourage everybody to join. And if there is a questionnaire or a clinical trial, if you're in the study, you're not required to do any of those things. You can say no to any part that you want to say no to. You just have the opportunity to participate if you're enrolled in the research study. So I hope that helps clarify the distinction between the two and why they are two separate things, because they're two very different functions that operate with very different rules and guidelines for legally how such things can operate. So let's see.
Questions?
Yeah, are there questions? I see. Let's see. So Mark says the self-advocates are watching. So yay, I'm glad to hear you're out there, guys. Makes me very happy.
Can you say
Yes.
a little bit about how it's funded?
So yeah. And this being the end of the year, I can't quit. We have 2 minutes left, and I can't quit without saying how all this happens. This office that we're in is in my home because the Chromosome 18 registry doesn't pay rent or utilities for that matter. And we try to save money every way we can, but none of this happens without fundraising, and it's up to us. There are no initiatives coming out of the federal government, and likely to be fewer than zero, that are focused on chromosome abnormalities. And it's an unrecognized area that touches a lot of people. And it's a common cause of intellectual disability, but there are many kinds of chromosome abnormalities. And so there hasn't been a focused effort to fund any research at the federal level. So it's really up to us, and it's up to our friends, and it's up to the companies we work for. And at this end of the year, if you haven't sent out your Phantom T invitations, please do that. That's what keeps us going. And we have a fabulous team at the Health Science Center. I think a lot of people know Annis, who I think has been with us, 8 or 9 years now. She's our newest member of the team. That's how committed the research team is to all of you and helping your kids have the best lives they can, because people that join the team don't leave because they meet them and they're hooked because of you, and they're committed because of you. So
Just perhaps as a
yes.
follow-up, saying any questions can go to office.
Oh, yes. Yeah, good. Neil's prompted me. Thank you. So if there are any questions, send them to office@chromosome18.org. We're anxious to have a much more formalized presentation in the future. So we'd like the questions in advance so we can prepare something, or bring in a speaker. All the research center people here are here in San Antonio, obviously. And so they can do a presentation. I guess somebody not in San Antonio can do a presentation with this strategy. So please send your questions. This is not so painful. I lived through it. So thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. And have a happy new year to everyone. Thank you.